Welcome back to America's Forum. I'm J.D. Hayworth.
And I'm John Bachman. Sticking around with us, Dick Morris. We'll have Pete Hoekstra in just a second. We're going to talk about the situation in Ukraine right now. Ukraine's president is threatening military action as unrest grows in the country. The threat comes as pro-Russian separatists ignore the call to leave government buildings that they're currently occupying. The rebels were given a 9 a.m. deadline to leave. That deadline has come and gone, obviously, with no sign that they are obeying the ultimatum. Meanwhile, a group of at least 100 rebels attacked a police headquarters office in the region. The president's warning has stoked fears of Russian military intervention. Well, as we mentioned, Dick Morris sticking around with us, and Pete Hoekstra is joining us now on the phone. Guys, we're seeing the back and forth continue here. We've heard Samantha Power this weekend on the Sunday shows talking also about new sanctions possibly coming into place, but at the same time, she's also admitted that the current sanctions have not stopped Vladimir Putin from carrying this forward. So our question is to Pete first. Some U.S. officials agree that the Russian government appears to be behind this recent uprising. We heard Samantha Power say it has all the fingerprints of Vladimir Putin. But Pete, what else can the United States do now? Because clearly Putin does not seem to be concerned with the sanctions the U.S. has put into place.
Well, I think the U.S., our European allies, were almost powerless when it comes to Ukraine. There's really nothing, or there's really not a whole lot that we can do to put Putin back into a small box. I think the thing that we have to worry about is not about getting Putin back into a small box, but we have to start worrying about how big this box, how big this problem environment is that he's going to create in Europe. Where does he go next? Does he go into Azerbaijan? Does he go into the Baltic states? Exactly what are his total aspirations in Ukraine? This is about not pushing back. This is about how do we restrain his efforts over the coming months. He sees a weak president, a weak United States, a weak Europe, and he's going to take advantage of it.
Well, with that, as you set it up, Pete, it leads me to a political question for Dick Morris here, and that is the new regime in the Ukraine. When we were visiting on this issue last week, you said, look, the Ukrainian government has to be firm on the deadlines. Now, is it incumbent upon this new government to move forward with force against these Russian sympathizers?
Yes, it needs to, because it needs to show its sovereignty and that it's still in charge. Otherwise, there can be a disintegration that goes on. But I believe the United States is not even close to using all of the leverage it could. Tomorrow morning, President Obama should issue a joint statement with the head of the Polish Civic Forum, the Prime Minister there, and the Czech Republic, announcing that he's going to reverse his policy and put the fourth stage of anti-missile missiles in those countries. Right now, it's only stage 3, which can shoot down short-range missiles, but not ICBMs. Stage 4 would really, the Russians said, be directed against them, because they're the only ones with ICBMs. We should retaliate by doing that. We also should do what the NATO commander suggested, which is we should move NATO troops, including American troops, into at least Poland and perhaps into the Baltic states, NATO territories, to create a sort of tripwire defense, such as we maintained during World War II. And in terms of the sanctions on Russia, the key thing here is to ratchet up very quickly exports of natural gas to Russia. Now that can't, to Europe. Now that can't be done immediately, but there are 27 liquefied natural gas plants awaiting federal approval. Approve 10 of them right away and send a signal to Russia that starting in 17, you're out of business economically because we're going to drown Europe in natural gas.
Well, and Dick, as you lay out this scenario, that would be clear, resolute action. But it prompts another question to Pete Hoekstra. With his background on the Intelligence Committee, you know some of the officials in these governments in the Czech Republic and in Poland. Now with the situation we're confronting, Pete, what do you think the whispers are when it comes to our commander-in-chief and his lack of resolute countermeasures?
Well, I think Dick's laid out a good strategy if this president had a credible track record. But the folks in Poland and the Czech Republic and in Europe are basically going to be saying, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You know, the Poles and the Czechs, they're not they're going to be very, very skeptical about, accepting this president's promise of, putting an or expanding and building our capabilities for an anti-ballistic missile capability in that part of the world. This is the president that stopped that. The Europeans, they're going to be very nervous about establishing that tripwire. They are, until at least 2017, 2018, they're going to be very hesitant because of their dependency on gas that flows through Russia and flows through the Ukraine. The Russians can cut that off. And again, that's still dependent on this president and this administration even approving those permits to build those types of facilities, which I think is still a very, very big if. The bottom line is, for 5 years, this president has misread Russia, has misread a lot of our enemies. He does not have a strong record of, you cross this red line and you're going to be in big trouble and you're going to be dealing with the United States with a big stick. He doesn't have the credibility that our allies, whether it's the Poles, the Czechs, or our European allies, are going to line up behind him and support him.
Pete, you used to be head of the Intelligence Committee, so I can't possibly dispute with you intelligence, because you know so much more than I do. But I have a little bit of a sense of it because
Sure
I represented Kaczynski, who was the president of Poland, as my client, and his brother, who was the prime minister, and still work with that political party there. I think the reaction of the Poles to a proposal like this would be joy, because they would love anything that signals a U.S. and a NATO presence in their countries in the face of the threat of looming Russian aggression.
I think that's absolutely accurate, Dick, in that the Poles and the Czechs would very much appreciate a stronger presence of the United States. They are very leery of this president. If it came through with a strong resolution from Congress, bipartisan, they need something more than this president's word to establish the credibility that what we promise at this point in time will actually happen over the next 2 to 3 years. Your basic premise is exactly accurate. They want to align
When I
with
met
NATO.
Kaczynski, who was the president of Poland, I said, it's so nice to meet a president who is more pro-American than the American president is.
Yeah,
Well, and that opens up, we've got less than a minute here. You heard the talk that Mr. Obama is our first post-American president. Others have said he's the first anti-American president. Is that second charge too strong, Dick Morris?
Well, we don't know yet. Let's wait till we see his whole record in getting out of office. I wonder, however, if when he told Putin that I'll have more flexibility after the election, he meant to back down and run scared. And we'll see. I think clearly this president believes American power is overreaching in the world and that America should be cut down to size.
Dick Morris, Pete Hoekstra, we'll leave it right there. Gentlemen, as always, we thank you for your insights and analysis. When we come back, who is the man who opened fire at 2 Jewish centers in Overland Park, Kansas? We'll have the latest on that shooter and more stories of the day as America's Forum continues. Please be with us.